Hello, everybody. It is Pocop1234, and I would like to tell you guys about something that came across my DMs and that we had to worry about earlier today. It's not good news at all. I hate to say that, but that is the case. If you haven't read the title already, the SoNY assets have been leaked once again after our last encounter over a year ago. During that time period between the first leak and then this time, there has been lots of distribution of our assets, and they are out there indeed. If you see any assets that are stolen from SoNY, please be sure to report them immediately. Do not take any stolen assets. I repeat, do not take any stolen assets, because it will result in consequences from the game and possibly on the Roblox side. Let's talk about the information that we have today. Earlier today, I checked on Discord and I was informed that a user had managed to exploit the game using an exploit client called Synapse X. The exploit client allowed him to copy the entire map, and he is now distributing it to multiple people across Discord. Anything that they could get their hands on is now in their domain as of right now, even though they are not the proper owners and they did not create or have any authorization to have any of the assets that they do. I will hand it over to Jersey and Blig to talk more about this situation and what we know.
Alright. Some of you may know me, some of you may not, but I am Jersey. I'm a lot of things in this community, actually, but I'm not going to go in depth for that. So, let me check the timestamp. Around approximately 2:15 p.m. today, September 26, 2020, we received word of a exploit attack which took many of our assets. I was playing 5M trying to have a good afternoon, but then this shit came up. After some digging and some espionage done by some of our members, whose names will not be disclosed, we have found the person and action has been taken against them in our community. However, this does not mean that the models are still out there, because they are. Although the amount that they actually got from exploiting the game is minuscule to the amount that could have been taken. We'll go more in depth about that later. But we do have an identity for the person. This person name is Billy MD. Shit, I forgot. Billy MD something. Billy MD Shepard.
Blig, you're cut out right now. We don't hear you.
Alrighty. You may be asking, why do we know it's him? Why and all that and all these other why questions. Well, through our resources and through us literally dissecting the stolen asset, we're able to identify and and we're able to identify that the actual user that exploited and took whatever it is from their client sided left their player within the map. Hence, then we were able then to trace back and then verify against multiple discords and multiple users that this person actually exploited and took the map. Along with further other investigation and other investigations, we found that multiple models, now with this person's inventory, but kind of spread out amongst a whole large group, were stolen from all the different kinds of games.
These include all of Gate Studios games, like First Response Coastal Heat, Fire Simulator Rekindled, and any other Gate Studio game or model.
Do,
Furthermore,
The user in question is also the same person who is leaking and distributing Gate Studios assets affiliated with the user OC_law, who has been distributing Gate Studios assets and stealing them from Rengate's games. Go ahead, Blake.
Alrighty. Overall, though, it's not only do we make this announcement to say that about our stolen assets, but this also goes out to other creators as well. That this is not only an issue that we have to deal with. We other creators are out of the blue, literally going in there and getting their assets stolen, all because of an exploit problem. And the worst thing is that Roblox is not doing much on their end to help prevent this. The sources that they use again are injections, meaning that with Roblox, there's a client server relationship with the server have, but the server being the server, and the client being the player itself. With the ability of an injection, they're able to take whatever is read on their client and either steal it or manipulate it in other ways, shape, or forms. That also works with remote scripts. Most games now have to are required to be filtered enabled. Exploiters, if they know if they're able to identify a remote event, are able to manipulate an event and manipulate the server side through the client. Poke, if you want to add on.
Essentially, what happens with this exploit program that they've used, and this is the exact same exploit program that they used in the past when the game was first distributed to people who have no authorization or any type of business to have the game. It's this exploit program specifically. What it does is it copies over the user's client side. So anything that is displayed on their screen or that they as the client can access, they can essentially steal. Here at SoNY, we are very lucky that our server-sided items are still intact and that they do not have possession of them. This includes any type of server scripts or any type of GUIs or anything that is server-side. So we are very lucky. We are very lucky in that aspect that is not distributed. But I want to warn everybody that OC Law is dangerous and he has multiple people involved in this. We've heard reports of OCFA and other users who have been known for stealing assets getting involved in this as well or are somewhat related to this. And we've been having asset release problems from the first asset leak since January of 2019. It has still continued to come up, and our assets are still being distributed on the Roblox platform without our consent or without our knowledge.
We still have models floating around from our first leak. The most common of these is a decal. When I do background checks on residency applications, you don't even want to know how many models I find with stolen decals.
Stolen textures and stolen models are still part of stolen assets. And that constitutes as possession of stolen property, which then leads to a ban from SoNY. I've gotten in touch with Roblox on several occasions to try and get them to do something, but they have done nothing. I really hope that in this case, since this happened recently, that we can finally take action against the people who are involved, especially because the people who are involved have not only leaked our game, but also a major game, which is FRCH by Rengate.
It's the fact that these people don't know how to develop on their own and have to rely on stealing other people's assets for their own benefit. That's the real kicker here. Because they don't want to learn how to make models like this, with this amount of detail. They think they can just do whatever they want and steal. But if you want to have true credibility and you want to have a reputation for yourself on this platform, you have to make your own models. Stealing models isn't going to cut it if you want to get popular.
What this means for you as the general community is that you are very likely going to see stolen assets circulating around the Roblox community from this particular leak. Currently, we know of 3 fire trucks that are currently at risk of being circulated among the Roblox community, and that is my Seagrave Spare, my Tiller, and Engine 4, the KME truck.
However, the spare truck and the tiller were never fully completed. The only version they have of the spare truck is the cab and the mock-up of the body for the truck.
The temporary
Tiller
body.
doesn't even have a ladder. Tiller doesn't even have a ladder model. It's literally just a body. The only thing they could really use is the script for the rear steer. And the only actual truck that they have possession of is Engine 4.
And
However,
so
they
sorry to cut you
cannot.
off, but
No, you can go for it.
none of the scripts have transferred through. No, none of the scripts have transferred through. And something else I want to point out that I'm currently looking at in the chat is that I know Remy's saying, "Oh, now my work is loss free." Your work is not a free model. There's a clear class model is when the game creator physically releases it to the public, as it is defined in Roblox's TOS. When the developer or the creator releases that asset to the public. Stolen asset is when an exploiter or a third-party source steals the models and distributes models without permission of the owner or the developer, as defined in Roblox's TOS.
So I have put up the studio so you can see what assets I'm talking about here. If you see anything that looks like these assets that I'm showing you here, please be sure to report it to SoNY administration, even if the colors changed or the textures are removed. A very easy way to look out for stolen assets may be by using the PKEG logo that will be placed on all of the fire trucks. If you see that, then it is obviously very much stolen property made by Pokes Custom Emergency Gear, which is my customs company. These are the trucks that you have to look out for. The spare cab, as you can see here. KME Engine 4. And the tiller. And Seagrave cab with the rear. Please do your part in helping out the SoNY community and by stopping the leakage of Roblox Fire community assets by reporting any stolen property that you see to us as the administration. Whatever you do, do not take or do not use any stolen property that you receive or that you see across your Discord platform or across the Roblox platform. Do not use or take any of the stolen assets. Please just report them to the administration of SoNY, and we will take care of it.
The one who's probably going to be the most online is me, because I'm online pretty much all day and I monitor my Discord. So if you see anything at all that might look like pokes, you send it to me and I can pretty much verify for you or not. My DMs are always open. If you think you see something that looks like pokes, send it my way. If it is, I'll notify poke if it's a new muggle. If it's not, I'll just dismiss it. And I'll tell you it's not pokes and give you the characteristics of that specific truck that are not found on pokes models.
If you see something, please be sure to say something and help out our community. This is not the first time that we've had to go through a stolen asset situation where our property that we've put hard work and effort into has been stolen. And now the entire map that you see here is also most likely circulating out there. There are games that are going to try and copy and use our map for their own purposes or their own game. Just remember that those games are using stolen assets and are not legitimate SONYs.
I think also adding on to that, With our administration, we are fortunate enough to have an administration team and a moderation team that can dig deep into whatever investigation we find. With our moderation team is experienced in all different kinds of areas, such as scripting. Some maybe with scripting, alt accounts, and all around. Don't think you can try to be slick and get away from us.
Because, Chief, it ain't gonna work.
We have many moderation features that let us know who plays our game, when they play the game, who has access to the game, and all the information about the players who come in and out of SoNY. Note that we know exactly who you are if you decide to come in and steal assets. And we very much do not appreciate people who steal and lie their way, saying that they made these assets that are clearly not theirs, or that they did not put in the hard work and effort to actually create. We know who you are. We have seen plenty of users, especially out of Joe Squirt Squirt's Discord, Joe_Squirt. His Discord is essentially a trading place for stolen assets, and it is absolutely unbelievable that there are dedicated communities out there to stealing and distributing stolen property that does not belong to them, that they did not put in the hard work and effort to make. It is absolutely disgusting and despicable that people do not put in their own time and effort to making good games, and that they decide to steal from people who have.
Think of it as kind of like the New York Stock Exchange. Instead of money, it's people's time, hard work, and effort being traded around the Roblox community.
With us also calling these people out, this does not give you permission on any source to harass, go after, DDoS, or do anything to these people. This purpose of the stream is only to bring awareness to the overall situation. We do not condone any sort of harm towards these people. But we do ask that moderation teams across all these platforms were to take the proper actions necessary and communities to be aware.
The only thing that we would like to see happen to these people is for them to get shut down on the Roblox platform, and even, if needed, the Discord platform as well. If they're using it for these negative purposes to do stuff that isn't legitimate and then claim other people's product as their own. I want to make it very clear that SoNY assets have never been, and most likely will never be, for sale or will ever get distributed or given away to another person. If somebody says that they have permission from me, PokeUp1234, then they are straight up lying to you. And those instances should be reported immediately. I am not giving away, nor am I selling any assets related to SoNY. Any assets that I make free or are selling, I will announce usually on my YouTube channel or through the Pokes Custom Emergency Gear Discord server, which has been closed for a while I work on SoNY development. So I'm not currently selling or giving away assets except for the free model that I made for the YouTube tutorial on how to make a simple light bar. That is the only thing that you are allowed to use in your games, is the simple light bar.
This also extends not only to models, but scripts, uniforms,
Exactly.
decals, textures.
Copying textures, scripts, or uniforms is still asset theft. It doesn't have to be physical it doesn't have to be a physical model in order for it to be considered stolen property. Everything that you make in your game should be your own, made by somebody in your community for that particular group. Anything else is stolen property, unless it is a free model off of the Roblox page that is legitimate and not just somebody distributing stolen property. If anybody in the stream has any questions, be sure to send them in the chat, and we'll be sure to answer them.
I think it's disappointing a little bit that the fact that when you finished your first rig for FDNY, it was on 911, and yet they stole and distributed the 911 rig.
And the engine and the rescue, and now people are using them in their own games and then posting it in other discords, mind you, especially the Gate Studios Discord. Somebody posted a picture of a stolen SoNY truck and said, "Look what I made." They didn't make it. It is absolutely ridiculous that there are people out there who are doing this type of activity and still continue to get away with it. It is unacceptable. If anybody has seen the last Stolen Assets video, I have already stated my thoughts on how I feel regarding the Stolen Assets situation and how much of a threat it is to communities all over the Roblox platform.
So, how people are stealing our assets? People are using exploits. So basically, they inject a exploit into the game, which allows them to get a version of the game. However, most of our scripts and everything was stored in the server, not client-based. So a lot of the assets that we had in game are still ours. They did not get them. Most of the things that they got were pretty much minuscule to the amount that we have that is not in game, that could not be stolen out of a client side.
Yeah, and Foxy just posted something in the chat saying, "We were talking about it last night in VC about the stolen asset situation and how it affects communities. And it hurts the Roblox community as a whole. It deters people who could make great games on Roblox from actually doing it. And it's ridiculous that people come into games, run exploits, and then using it as their own things, even though they don't own it at all." Yes, that is correct. They are using their own assets. They're using our assets and map in their own communities. That is true.
And claiming that it is their.
And claiming it's their own.
The only models they got were Pokes PAPD Explorer, the PAPD Tahoe, the FDNY Ambulance, Tiller, Spare Cab, and Engine 4.
Right. I forgot to mention that these assets are also leaked here. The FDNY ambulance that you can see here. The Port Authority Tahoe. As well as the Port Authority Explorer. Right here. These assets are all stolen property. And yes, they are selling them to vulnerable people who don't know that they're stolen. That has happened, especially with our assets before. Essentially what they do is they continuously distribute them to more and more people, and then those people distribute them to more people, thinking that they're free models when they're very obviously not. Many times the textures on the vehicle can be traced back to me, or even just the setup of how the model was made. since everybody has a slightly different building style. The assets should look different from the base. The assets may look a little bit different because they could still use the assets and do a little bit of modification. However, most of the time they still contain stolen property.
This question came into my DMs. Can I use the FDNY ambulance if I find it? Answer is no. All the scripts are stored in the server, not on the model or the client. So you only get the model. You don't get the light bar script, you don't get the siren script, you don't get anything.
Either way, using it would still be considered stolen property, which is a bannable offense.
This question from IO and Crowley. I definitely butchered that, but is there a way to identify when people are in game to steal the map? Or do they just come across other people? Funny story. So we received the stolen map that the exploit was injected, and it was released and given to someone in another Discord. This member of that Discord actually was in SoNY and forwarded it to Poke. And right at the spawn point was the dude's character. Didn't delete it. He just didn't remove it. But his character was still there. We were able to track him down like that. Finger snap.
I agree with Dinko West saying, why are they targeting Poke? That's how lazy people are. They use their exploits to get models and claim them. It sucks having to deal with this because you have to search the entire... Exactly.
This question from Nick Oliveira. Wait, so when the explorer's in the ambulance, it will not work as there's no scripts. The only thing you get is the model, but it's still stolen property.
Regardless of if you rescript it or recolor it, retexture it, whatever you want to do, you're still using stolen assets. My best advice to everybody who wants to get ambulances or fire trucks is to make your own. That is why I have been so enthusiastic about making tutorials for people to learn how to make their own assets. So that way we can put an end to having to people stealing or resorting to even stealing stolen to any property from any other game, and instead just making their own assets for their own games. You'll feel much more satisfaction by making your own assets instead of stealing them, because you know that you put in your hard work, time, and effort into something that you can be proud of.
We are not going to be talking in game, it's just Poke showing cinematic footage. So, fun fact, a lot of the stolen models that we find when we, check out suspicious games or background checks on inventories, a lot of the models are actually converted to Firestone chassis. Why? I don't know.
Because a lot of the times they for some reason don't like a chassis, or they're much more familiar with Firestone chassis, which is also technically stolen, but whatever. And they also might replace the wheelbase or the light bar, but you're still using the same models. It's still stolen.
Yes, you can make mesh models in Roblox. You just have to use Blender or something, and then import the mesh to Roblox. It's not that easy, but I've never done it, so I would never know. I don't believe the meeting center ever got leaked. We never even looked into that. But why would you steal a meeting center? It's just common sense.
The meeting center will take you less than a day to make if you put a decent amount of time into it. Meeting centers are very easy to do. There's no real reason to steal or exploit them. Although, yes, I have seen that people have stolen other games' meeting centers in the past.
How do we know it's not the meeting center? Because they never put out a map for it. Fun fact: our meeting center has over 1,000 seats. You can ask Poke why he did that.
Makes it look bigger, but either way, you can't even have that many people in the game. Regardless, though, regarding the stolen assets, this cannot be allowed to stand on Roblox at all. We need to put a community effort into stopping the people in these asset stealing groups.
That is true. A lot of people steal meeting centers for lights, but you can just buy the lights. A lot of people sell lights for meeting centers on the Roblox studio. For the price, I'm not really sure. But I do sell them on Roblox, and it's better off you just buy it instead of having to steal to get the lights. If you just steal a meeting center for lights, that's incompetent and stupid. Plain and simple.
Especially when there's plenty of lighting groups for meeting centers that are out there that are willing to give or sell them to you.
That's how we got ours. We bought our lights.
For the group from another community. Which Will and Jamie both have licenses for us to have them in our game from the original developers. So that's distributing assets with the permission from the people who created them, which is not the same as stealing assets using exploits and then calling them our own. They are two completely different things. So I really hope that we collectively can put an effort into stopping these asset thieves from doing what they're doing all the time in so many different communities, ruining games, ruining communities, and all for what? And then some may use the excuse, oh, it's a block game, nobody cares. I've seen it. I've seen them say it. But think about how much time and effort that people put into making their games in the Roblox community. Because I've definitely seen a lot of people that have. And when assets get stolen that they've put so much hard work and effort into, it is devastating. Even in this case, for our group.
Alrighty. And I think we've basically hit all the major points.
We've tried to, we have tried to get in touch with Roblox about this issue, but they never worked. Roblox simply just doesn't care.
And that's part of the main problem, is that Roblox not taking any action on this communities kills games and kills the development of games on their platform. We got to put a stop to this. We've got to report those responsible, and we've got to try and take them down. No matter what accounts they use, alternate accounts, their main accounts, whatever, they're still out there stealing assets, distributing assets, and they have to be stopped. Go ahead, Blake.
There's nothing much on my end, other than no, we will not find exploits and exploit other people's games. There's no purpose in that, and there is no objective in that either.
Exactly. If we went around exploiting other people's games, people would be completely upset with our community as well. Two wrongs don't make a right. Let's make the right decision and get these people shut down the proper way by using evidence and facts and showing the type of damage that they have done.
A lot of some of the other communities that we have banned from SoNY are because some of their members exploited. Like I hate to call this out, but Vancouver, for those of you who know Vancouver from Canuckman, their head developer went around to other communities and started exploiting. So in response, we said, okay, we can't we can't have a risk here, and we proceeded to ban Vancouver. Our overall objective as well is to also create a community space, a game in which the community has a say and the community can enjoy. If we see that a group, a community, an object, or something is going to prevent our goal, we will do whatever it takes to mitigate, if that's a proper word to use here.
Alright, please, for the love of God, do not harass these people. Do not attack these people. Do not do anything to these people other than get them shut down and exposed. Because if I keep seeing it, I'm just going to start removing you from the chat.
Like I said before, let's make the right decisions and use the proper methods of taking these people down. Call them out for their shenanigans, for the damage that they've done in other communities and this one. And stop any type of asset theft from happening. Do not get involved. It is a terrible thing to be involved in.
That's all for me.
All right, anything?
What I'm planning on doing with this video or this stream is editing it and making it into a video for those who have not watched this stream, and making it easier for people to get notified and be alerted regarding the situation. And I want to spread more awareness about who is distributing, why they're doing it, what evidence we can provide to prove such. And I really just want there to be a whole community Roblox effort to ending this type of behavior on the community. It's ridiculous.
Again, we ask you, do not harass these people or do anything in that aspect.
Don't harass these people. Report them and call them out on stealing assets. Make sure that people know who exactly these people are who have these so-called self-made fire apparatus or models on Roblox that they've worked so hard on when they really haven't and they've just stolen it. Make it known to the rest of these communities that they may be a part of. Jamie, would you like to say anything since you just joined?
Say what? Hello?
I gotta turn his volume up.
Stream.
Yes, this is on stream.
Okay, cool. Well, exploiters, first off, frick you. Second of all, they've only stole stuff. They can't really do much with it. Oh no, they've got buildings, but they've got no key scripts, so jokes on them, they've only stole what's on the client. I guess I'll be working on some anti-exploit stuff, but it's difficult because I don't know much about this old Synapse X stuff, but oh well, hey ho, here we are. Exploiters once again, you suck. Yeah, that's about it, Poke.
So, if there's any questions, please be sure to say in the stream chat. I will be keeping the stream up for maybe another 10 minutes or so for questioning or any other information that anybody asks for.
All right. Anything else?
Do you think if it gets too serious, we'll have to revamp SoNY development? There are definitely security features that we have learned from the first time that we had our assets stolen. There were a lot of openings or voids that gave them access to certain assets. In this case, we need to do a little bit of reevaluation on some other things that we have in the game to prevent people from being able to get those.
We have already started the process of releasing a huge security revamp.
That is true. We're going to continue to focus on improving our security measures and anti-exploit features, so that way any type of future damage from asset theft will be minimized. So we're definitely going to tighten up more security once again in terms of development.
All right. Anything else from anyone? Anyone in this VC?
I'm leaving the floor open to questions in the stream chat. And by the way, for those people out there who are developing games, there is no such thing as an anti-lag script. The only thing that you should do is improve your scripting abilities and make your scripts more efficient and take up less memory and time to operate.
I'm confused on what this guy's asking about. Poke, what happens if you or anybody else can't find any of the models? What would happen?
They definitely will find the models. It will eventually come across the administration at one point or another, as it has in the past.
I like what people are saying about the anti-lag scripts. They're literally a meme. It's just a server script with while true do, and then it just prints a whole bunch of lines just to lag the game even more. But people add it because they think that it is anti-lag. They don't
Yeah,
even open
anti-lag
the
does
script.
anti-lag does the complete opposite.
It's literally a meme that goes around. It does the complete opposite of what it says it does. Poke, speaking of which, I need to add an anti-lag script into the game.
Oh my, no.
I'm gonna do that now, to be fair.
Do it to the exploited map. So that way anybody who tries to steal the map and use it just gets lagged out.
Oh, here it is.
If we can't find the models, then it may suggest that they have not been spread. But we will act right. The community will definitely be looking for stolen assets, and it will come across somebody at one point or another. And no, I'm not making the state of Connecticut and don't have any plans for it right now. So I would like to extend a thank you to the SoNY community for being so positive and supporting the game, and trying to get these people taken down. I know this really sucks for our group and our community, but as we have in the past, we're going to continue to push on. So I thank everybody for supporting the community and helping to report stolen assets and all that. What would happen if all your models were stolen? It would be absolutely devastating. And we're going to ensure that that is not going to happen in the future. We're going to try to do that. So thank you to the SoNY community for your help. Thank you to everybody who watches the stream for coming here to get awareness, and please be sure to spread it to as many people as possible. If anybody has any info regarding what happened, please be sure to send it to the administration or somebody to forward it to the administration. And as from everybody, I'm sure, I think that is all from us. Unless anybody else has anything to say. Blake, Jamie, Jersey.
Not that I can think of. I mean, here we are. It is what it is. They can steal it, but at the end of the day, they don't own the community. Like, you could have a million Mano counties, but still, you know which one's the original one, and I suppose you can apply that same principle with here. You could say that our group is the original group, so, you know, you'd play this one rather than other ones. You know?
Right.
So it's about the community. They could have our map, they could have whatever, but we're enjoying our community. We're developing our community. We're not developing theirs.
And anything else is not a legitimate SONY. If they use our map and our assets, it's still not a legitimate SONY unless I'm the person that owns the community that you see. I'm sure there's going to be fake groups or like copied groups that start up using the stolen assets, and just be sure to call them out and let us know, so that way we can take action on those groups as needed. Most people who get banned from the community are typically banned due to being in a group that has been banned from our community, so be sure to check our list of banned groups located inside of our Discord in the important links and information channel before contacting an administrator regarding your ban. Typically, it's just people who are in major communities that have been banned from our group due to exploiting reasons or stolen assets reasons. So even if you just remember that even if you like the assets, or even if you want to have our assets, you don't own them. And nobody does, except for this group. I highly recommend that you follow my tutorials and learn how to make your own assets. So, from me, that is all for the stream. I thank you guys for your attention once again, And please be sure to share this information with as many other communities and people that you can, so that way we can create awareness about the people who are stealing assets and distributing them to other people, so that we can minimize the amount of assets that get distributed across the Roblox platform. Thank you again, and this is PokeCop124, signing off for the stream. Okay, bye.